from Boston in just a minute. It's in Boston where Golden State, powered by Stephen Curry, grabs Game 4 to even their series at 2 games apiece. Steph Curry injured that foot in Game 3, but said, I'm going to play in Game 4, and play he did. If you were with us a little earlier, he told me that he wanted to come out and play with a demonstrated intensity. Let everybody in the building know we're here to play, and I'm going to let you know. Here's Steve Kerr on Curry's hot start.
What's been the key to Steph Curry's hot start?
He's really good at basketball.
There you go. He is that. 19 points, 5 boards, 2 assists in the first half. But Boston had the lead at the break, but you know what's coming in the third, right? The Avalanche. Curry, his 5th 3 in the game, gives him 30. He's now had 10 finals games with 5 3-pointers or more. No other player has done that more than twice in NBA Finals history. In the final minute of the quarter, trailing by 3. This is such a smart play by Gary Payton II. Don't shoot the 3, let 30 shoot it. And Curry does. He had 33 after 3. But the 4th spin where Boston is dominated in this series. They lead by 4. Andrew Wiggins had a career high in rebounds, 16 of them, and he had some huge putbacks, including that one. After they get a stop, very next possession, there's Clay. He hits a 3 of his 18, and the Warriors are back out in front by 1. And Curry here, the handle on display. Smart's in vicinity. Williams is in vicinity. He finds the soft spot in the defense and hits. It's a 7-0 run. Golden State leads by 3. Couple possessions later, Curry again. Bang! 43 for Curry. 7 of 14. Here's Klay Thompson on his running mate's night.
I think I have seen him show that much emotion, and the heart on that man is incredible. You know, the things he does, we kind of take for granted from time to time, but to go out there and put us on his back, and I mean, we got to help him out on Monday. So wow, just showed why he is shocking. He wasn't a first team All-NBA guy, but whatever. Next year.
Another question in the back.
Hey. Hi. Tal from Outs newspaper in Israel. Marcus Smart made a huge 3-point shot on the buzzer in the 4th quarter, and then you responded with 3-pointer, Steph, as well. Can you take me back to these moments? What made you change the game like that?
You know, I got some great looks all night, and come playoff time, especially in the finals, it's hard to get good looks. Teams are going to blanket us. So when you get that little, you know, space, you got to let it fly. Been in this league too long to ever doubt myself, especially in the highest pressurized moments. You just got to let that thing go and trust your work, trust your touch. And luckily I made them when they counted. Still thinking about that one I missed on the left wing. Great pass from Andrew, but luckily I got Draymond, who made an incredible rebound, and I'll make it on Monday.
From Kendra here up front.
Let's head back out to Boston and say, well, now we can say good morning East Coast time to our friend and colleague Jalen Rose. And Jalen, I just want your thoughts on Steph as well. I mean, you've seen remarkable performances. We've talked to every guest, including Steph himself, about the night. What was most impressive to you about what he did?
The most impressive things, SVP, was that he understood that if the Golden State Warriors lost today, that they were going to win the series. They weren't coming back trailing 3-1. He knew that, they knew that, and we all knew it. But the great thing about his performance is his feathery touch under pressure, even when he's contested. Almost like pop-a-shot type of three-pointers. And the Warriors did something that was really intelligent. Other guys stopped shooting. They was like, where's Steph? Dribble handoff, get him the ball, feed the hot guy. He's the oldest guy, along with Michael Jordan, I believe, to score 40 in a finals game, hit 7 threes and score 40. I think Kyrie Irving was the other guy to do that. And when you look back at the history of the NBA and you see the teams that were multiple champions, they got a guy on that team that's him. Steph Curry was that for the Golden State Warriors. That's what Klay Thompson was talking about. we got on his back on the road and got it done. Now, the Celtics, they were willing contributors also. Offensively, they looked a little stagnant. They looked a little confused. Marcus Smart was open for a reason. He wasn't able to knock down a couple of those shots that they were giving him. And all of a sudden, they were down 1 or 2 possessions, and they seemed desperate. It was like they were going to go for the three, go for the home run, go for the home run. They stopped jabbing. And also, where were their best players when they needed them the most? In particular, Jason Tatum. That's when you need that guy who was ascending when he beat Kevin Durant, when they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, when they beat the Miami Heat. They needed that guy for the Boston Celtics, and Jason Tatum, they didn't have him in particular in the fourth quarter.
Jalen, I think we can make stats or a performance tell the story we want them to tell. But I wonder if in this fourth quarter that this championship DNA that the Warriors reference so often and the familiarity with the stakes and the stage didn't reveal themselves to some degree. How much do you believe that that was what we really saw in those final 12 minutes?
Well said, boom, because coming into this game, we know that the Golden State Warriors avalanche teams, as you mentioned earlier, in the third quarter.
Right.
But the Boston Celtics were plus 40 coming into tonight in the fourth quarter. They reverted back to the struggles they had in the regular season late in games. No ball movement, no cutting, settling for threes, getting turnovers, losing Steph in transition, losing them in half-court situations. And the Boston Celtics will look at this as a loss clearly. But the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry, they took this game on the road tonight.
I'll close with this thought from you, Jalen. Boston now knows in order to win this championship, they have to win a game in Golden State. But they already have. And so even though they lose home court tonight, they fly to the West Coast for a Monday night game knowing, look, we got to win this one or Game 7 if it's necessary. How much does it help when you've already done something that you now need to do again?
That corporate knowledge is going to be there. That confidence is going to be there. And I've been to the Celtic games these last couple of rounds, and it seems like they've lost a home game that was head-scratching. They did this in Game 6 against the Miami Heat, but as you just alluded to, have still found ways to go on the road and play well. But again, on the road, your role players probably not going to give you the kind of performances they give you at home. So that means Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to be the catalyst if they're going to find a way to get another game in Golden State.
Jalen, appreciate you always. Be well until next time, all right, my friend?
Appreciate the love. Thanks a lot.
SportsCenter on the Road is presented by Rocket Mortgage.
So Stephen 5 in all 4 games in this series. That makes it the longest streak in finals history. 25 threes this series, the most ever through 4 games of the NBA Finals. He's responsible for 6 of the 7 highest totals in finals history. So that's the happy side of the equation. As for Boston, Marcus Smart, as Jalen was just alluding to, open for a reason, couldn't knock down some shots. What went wrong for Boston?
We just didn't execute late down the stretch. They went on a run early on in the third. We sustained it, made a run of our own, and after that, we just couldn't execute.
On the right side, third row.
For both of you, John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal, what happens late in the games when the offense tends to slow down? It seems like earlier in the game, the offense is really popping. You guys are getting a lot of opportunities, but later it tends to just kind of slow down. You guys are getting shots later in the shot clock.
I think we just kind of got a little stagnant. Everybody just kind of standing around looking at whoever had the ball and trying no player movement, no ball movement. We just got to do a better job executing down the stretch, and that's the difference in the game right there.
Gary Washburn, second row in the middle.
Marcus, there was like a play, maybe the second quarter, where you were dribbling, and like Derek said, everybody's looking at you, and you're looking at everybody to move. And I know you talked to Ime about that. How tough is it to kind of, when you kind of see that the offense isn't rolling, to kind of jumpstart it and get it going? Because it seemed like tonight you never quite got it, the offense never quite got going.
Yeah, like Derek said, we got ball watching the guy with the ball instead of just moving like we've been doing.
You know, the ball handler, it's kind of hard because you're trying to tell everybody to do something while, you know, making sure you still see the play with the guy in front of you, and you know, you've been taught to make a play. So for us, is, you know, we just got to move. Plain and simple. You know, if the ball gets stuck and you see it, just go screen somebody. But we have to move. We cannot let the ball get stagnant and let them load up on us.
Tim Legler, as promised, is back. 13 of the 21 field goal attempts for Boston in the fourth were threes. Smart had some wide open looks. They just didn't go down. And look, it's really easy to nitpick this because the shots didn't go. If they do, maybe it's a different story. But you hear the same word from Udoka, from Smart, from White, from everybody we've heard from thus far on the Boston side. Stagnant. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I thought up to the point when Steph Curry took over the game, if Boston had won the game, what I was looking at was Tatum and Brown and just how difficult their shot making was in the paint, and their ability to finish over guys in those spots. Golden State doesn't really have weapons that do that. Right. They can beat you in other ways. And so that's where they were trending. They really got away from that in the fourth quarter. Now, some of it is Golden State's defense. Some of it is you start to feel the pressure of what Steph is doing, and you're gonna match that. So you're standing around a three-point line, ball comes your way, you're gonna let it fly. Some of those are clean looks too that they made earlier in the game, but not with that kind of pressure on their shoulders. Because Scott, what you start to feel when Steph Curry was doing his thing in the fourth quarter, Boston starts to feel the enormity of letting this game slip away. So those shots, you saw the numbers in the last 5 minutes. I mean, 17-3 is the tally in the last 5 minutes. There's a reason for that. Good defense, but it's also the weight of what's happening in front of you, particularly when number 30 is doing that on the other end of the floor. And just give the Warriors all the credit in the world, man. That's a championship team tonight.
Tatum had just 3 in the fourth as well. That's that you're hearing. Like, we want to see that Tatum. He did have 3 in the fourth. And what you just mentioned is what I want to explore a little bit more. Golden State's forever talking about championship DNA. We've referenced it now a bunch. Steph said it himself. When the moment requires your best, do you have it? And Golden State tonight did. And I mean, at some point, the experience and the familiarity with this is going to reveal itself. To me, it absolutely did tonight in the fourth. I just wonder, as a player, your level of appreciation for being able to deliver that in that moment.
Yeah, it's just absolutely mesmerizing. I said to you earlier, I said the league is going to be infinitely less entertaining when this guy retires. You know, just watching him play and that level of skill, to see what Steph Curry did tonight. It's so special. I just hope we don't ever lose appreciation for what we just watched, because that stage, number one defensive team. And honestly, one thing I was thinking, Boston's greatness defensively and their length and versatility might be working against them a little bit in this way. They're trying to just do things with like switches and letting guys fight over the screens on Steph. They're not thinking about taking it out of his hands by hitting him with a blitz here and there. They're really not doing that. And this is 4 straight games where he has gotten loose. You wonder at some point, even though you've got great defensive length, versatility, all that, do you start to think, hey, maybe we should make some of these guys that have not been consistent in this series beat us? Because I'd said after game 2, this trend's going to continue. If they don't switch up the way they're playing him, Steph Curry's probably going to have 30 every game in this series. And that might be enough to get you beat. So it's something to look at with Boston.
I do want to ask one last thought about Boston. It's the same thing I just asked Jalen. They've been great on the road in this series. They've been great on the road in the playoffs. They've gone everywhere and won. They've already done it once. So as they take a deep breath and get ready to head west for a Game 5 at minimum, maybe a Game 7 if it's necessary, they've already won. What do they have to do to win there again?
They hang their hat on the fact that their defense will carry the day, so that they know they can string together stops when they have to. It's always it's been their pride, right? But now they've got to make some adjustments on some of these ball screens with Steph Curry. It's that simple. So that, to me, is a little tweaking. And if they just dig in, because we don't think we need to do that because we're that good individually defensively, they're going to lose this series because Steph Curry is going to be that great, I believe, the rest of the way. So look for an adjustment there. The thing that Golden State has to really rely on now, you say, hey, look, if they start doing that, other guys maybe start to get consistent. Poole and Clay and Wiggins and Draymond Green maybe makes an appearance offensively in this series. So there's a lot at stake as we go back to San Francisco for Game 5.
But I'm with you. If I'm Boston, I mean, you're never going to stop Curry entirely. But if you're going to beat me, I'm going to have to make it be somebody other than that dude going for 40.
At some point, I just think you have to try to hit him with a blitz and force him to pass the basketball because he is very comfortable very early in these games.
What a performance we got to watch and then talk about tonight, right?
Absolutely.
It's fun coming to work. As always, appreciate your time.
Got it.
Legler. All right, here's Draymond Green on Curry and also on his night, which was interesting.
Incredible. Put us on his back, willed us to a win, much needed win. Game we had to have. Came out and showed why he's one of the best players that ever played this game. And why, this organization has been able to ride him to so much success. It's just absolutely incredible.
Marcus in the back.
Marcus Thompson, The Athletic. Draymond, when you see Steph shoot like that and play like that, everybody can witness that part. But what could you say about, his toughness, against a defense like this, with his foot hobbled? What could you say about how resilient he is?
Same thing I've always said. Him was one of the most resilient, toughest guys that I ever played with. The way defenses guard him, they're constantly grabbing. And he just continues to play. He don't make much of it. He just continues to do what he does. So, it just says a lot about his toughness and his competitive nature and what it truly means to be a winner.
Tim on the right.
Draymond, what was your reaction? Were you surprised when you got taken out when you did in the fourth quarter? It looked like you were not thrilled by that. And how did you kind of go through the offense-defense kind of substituting it out at the end of the game?
Definitely never thrilled coming out of the game with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in a must-win game. I'm not going to sit here and act like I was thrilled. I'm a competitor. But at the end of the day, if that's what coach decides, then you roll with it. And, I had to keep my head in the game and, whenever I went back in, try to make some plays. And so that was just my mindset. Don't make too much of it. I've always been of the on the bandwagon of, if you got something that's rolling, you stick with it. So it is what it is.
Dan.
We welcome in Malika Andrews from Boston. And it's interesting. I'm looking at the box score here for Draymond. It's the second game in a row with just 2. But he was able to come in and grab a rebound, and they called a timeout, took him out on offense. It's just interesting. I wonder what we heard Draymond's reaction. What other reaction is there to the way he was used here in the fourth?
Yeah, well, when I was talking with Steve Kerr when he was in the interview room, he said, I know that Draymond probably wasn't thrilled to come out at that point, but he also said that he knows that at the end of the day, what matters the most, right, Scott, is winning. He is a competitor. You heard Draymond said it. He always gives an honest assessment, right, of how he played. We've heard him do that the last several games when he hasn't played up to his standards. And Steve Kerr said that he knows he probably wasn't thrilled, but he also didn't hear any talking back, any barking about the decision that was made. And I can tell you, Scott, I was outside of the arena for NBA Today around 3 this afternoon. There were already fans that were outside that were chanting the profanities that we heard in the arena. So this hasn't been an easy environment for Draymond. Obviously, he has said it's not the environment that is affecting him here. But Steve Kerr even said today, look, I did not play Kevon Looney enough early on in this series, and so I expect to see more Kevon Looney heavy rotations and minutes moving forward here.
Malika, you know the drill on our show. We're not big into hyperbole. Try to be reasonable. Don't hoot and holler a whole lot. But, man, if there's a performance worth really finding the adjectives and trying to explore the thesaurus, it's what Steph did tonight. I wonder the reactions post-game from the arena to what we saw from Steph and Curry.
Well, it was interesting. Right at the end of the game, when Steph Curry was going to the line, some Golden State Warriors fans who were in here started chanting MVP. And the Boston fans, they very quickly wanted to drown out any chance of MVP with boos for Steph Curry, because they know, he knows, his teammates know this was an incredibly impressive performance. When our colleague Kendra Andrews asked Klay Thompson where he would rank this performance for Steph Curry in the finals, Klay said that it had to be number 1. But Klay also said that he knows that on Monday, they're going to need to give Steph a little bit of help. It didn't look like his leg was hampering him at all. He was moving around with ease, although Steve Kerr joked about that a little bit, that he was laboring when clearly he wasn't, Scott. But this is something where Steph was incredible. His teammates know it, and now they're tasking themselves with stepping up on Monday because they know it can't just come down to hero basketball every single game, even though Steph Curry is able to do that and put them on his back.
And you can't win a series if you can't win back-to-back games at some point, right? I mean, that's been the interesting thing about this Golden State team. You have a performance like this, but then they've had some absolute clunkers getting here. I mean, the night in Memphis obviously is the one that stands out above all others. So just the mentality from Golden State's side about trying to take this on the plane with them back and capturing momentum. What do they have to say about that?
Well, not only has Golden State struggled to do that, Boston has struggled to do that, and Boston has been impeccable coming off of a loss. They have been able to turn things around here. And so I asked Klay Thompson about that, and he told me, you know, one thing that we have found confidence in now is we have re-secured home court advantage for now. He said he knows that Oracle is going to be rocking. He got a little bit introspective, saying that he knows that a year ago at this point, he wasn't even running. And so for him to have that sort of motivation, you could already see the laser focus. He was trying very hard not to look too far ahead into a Game 6 or a potential Game 7 in a championship. But you could tell when I was watching them at the podium tonight, there was an air of the job very clearly isn't finished. They're going back to San Francisco with everything all tied up. They know how Boston responds after a loss. They can't guard against that and clam up. Instead, they have to play the free-flowing, beautiful basketball, Scott, that we've come to know as the Golden State Warriors brand of basketball here.
The Emmy Award-winning host of the NBA Today, Malika Andrews, as always, your time appreciated. I won't say that anymore if it embarrasses you. The truth's the truth, though. The truth's the truth. Take your flowers.
I got to tell you, Scott,
yeah.
I want to tell you that I'm tired of it, but as Marcus Smart told me, he doesn't get tired of getting introduced as the Defensive Player of the Year, and I haven't gotten tired of that yet.
Right on.
I appreciate you, my friend.
Come back again, and we'll introduce you to the truth's the truth. I'm not making it up, and you earned it, Malika. We appreciate it. Be well, all right?
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
I hope so. All right. Who's going to be on the show? Mark Spears? Is this his best finals performance ever? Clay says so. What's Mark Spears have to say?